savings. I remember Ruto saying that Kenyans do not save. We save. In fact, his minister came out with a budget statement last year. This year I didn't see it. But last year they said that our domestic assets, in other words, what we have said in our banks, insurance companies, our SACCOs, our pension funds, our capital markets, are a total of 8 trillion. All right? That was Dongo's budget speech last year. Those are our savings. Now I want you to imagine that government has taken 6.5 to date of that, our money. And I want you to understand the shocker. You cannot put it towards any budget item. Any. So it has been for consumption. That is odious debt. I want you to imagine that money in the market, as CT was talking about, in our hands to borrow. If government was not borrowing it. That means banks will be queuing all over the place to beg us to take a loan. You can imagine the competitive interest rates. It'll be phenomenal. I'm sure we'll be borrowing at US levels, 2%, 3%. So what is this that government has done to take away our savings, to work for them, and we don't see it in our development, and it is away from us? You and I go and ask for a loan, it is out of reach. We can't afford it, and the bank really doesn't want to give us because they are very comfortable with what is called a government bond.
But Jimi,
that is illegally acquired.
This domestic borrowing, it means local financial institutions will be owed. The borrowing may not have followed the law, but they are owed. If we declare it odious debt, what then becomes of the banks?
We have a formula for this. I've been asked this by even some foreigners. What happens to the banking community?
Yes, because that is a colossal amount.
And I can assure you, I'm not saying it today, but we have a formula to deal with it. I want you to also appreciate that in the 6.5 trillion that they have now taken, the interest that has been paid to them is something like 4.7 trillion. Okay. So I want you to appreciate something in all this. That in as much as we have debt outstanding, we have been making payments to this debt, like the one of 2 trillion last year.
That 2 trillion includes monies that were actually paid to these banking institutions.
Yes.
So in essence, you're telling us that when they declare these huge profits they make, it is as a result.
Now we are on the same page. And you tell me, if we have taken 6.5 and we have paid domestic debt interest payments of 4.7 trillion, what kind of interest is being paid on these bonds? Because what we see publicly is 10%. 15%.
Was there not a time when it got to 18%?
Even then. We are talking about what at 4.7 to 6.5. That's almost like a 65 to 70% interest rate. What is that thing? What is that monster?
Over what period of time?
Even if it's 10 years. What is that monster? What is that monster?
Are we therefore suggesting that part of the attraction or part of what attracts banks to buy government paper is an interest rate that has hitherto not been declared? What we read and what we are told is not quite what it is that they're being paid. Is that what we're saying?
Yes. And I want to add one thing here. This is a cartelling entity that has perpetuated the worst economic crime on us Kenyans. If you look at the top 10 companies, profit-making companies in Kenya, 8 are banks, 2 are private concerns, breweries and Safaricom. The others are all banks. So a bank is making money how? It is our money, not theirs. Then they give it to the government in government bonds, which are not in our laws. They are not. That borrowing is long term. And long term means you attach it, medium term, long term, to development. It is not attached to any project. Okay, just hold on.
Yes.
And then you come back to us for our taxes to pay you your massive interest. Okay? So we are hit two ways. And then you and I try and get a loan, we are told come at 20% because government is taking it at your 18% or at 15% or 10%, and they are a safer bet. Government is you and I. This is just the criminality of entities that have decided to cartel us out of our economic liberation. Okay? So what we are saying is this. If it didn't, let's go by your adage. If they did not follow the law as far as borrowing or loaning to a government is concerned, why is it due from us?
Let me ask the question.
Those people, if you look at the Banking Act, if you look at the central bank instructions to all those CEOs, they are liable for the people's money. A bank does its due diligence when it gives out a loan to you and I. It must do the same to a government. If they are giving a government bond, it is for what purpose?
Okay.
If it is because a government bond is a loan, it goes towards what project?
Okay.
It must be anchored and shown in the budget of Kenya.
Jimi, let's take a step back. What percentage of whatever monies we borrow or have can be used for recurrent expenses?
They say very clearly, in law, the government can do short-term borrowing.
Short is what?
1 year.
Full stop.
Full stop. Of no more than 1 year. And they can only take 5%, borrow 5% of the last audited tax revenue returns. So if we collect a tax of 2 trillion, right? Tax.
Yes.
Revenue of 2 trillion.
But it has to be audited.
It has to be audited. You take what?
5%.
5%.
That's what you're allowed to borrow.
Yes, which takes you to 100 billion for 1 year, and it must be paid back. Right? And that is the allowance central bank has to create an overdraft for the government, for the treasury. Okay, so really, in all entity, in all reality, government does not need to borrow from banks.
When was our last audited revenue?
It's audited every year.
It's audited every year.
Yes.
It's current.
It's current.
So we look at the figure of the revenue,
yes,
and we take 5%.
Yes.
The paper that the government offers,
yes,
what are the terms? For what period of time? Is it a year? Is it 2 years?
No, they have what are called bills and bonds.
Yes.
Bills are for a year.
Yes.
Bonds are beyond a year.
A longer period.
Yes.
And the monies that the banks are making are from bonds, not bills.
Bills and bonds, both. They are making from both.
So it means that if the government has issued bonds, then the government is actually involved in long-term borrowing.
Yes.
And long-term borrowing is only meant for development.
Yes.
I see.
Medium to long-term is over 1 year. Is only for development. The bills are short-term, 1 year, and must be paid within 1 year. But they also say in public finance management that is an overdraft at CBK. In other words, CBK can extend an overdraft of 5% of the audited tax revenue of the previous year to the government. So the government really doesn't need to go out for bills and bonds. They try and use arguments of money supply.
I have a question here, and this is from, where is it? Oh yeah, found it. Someone is asking, I have been following Wanjigi's conversation for 3 years now concerning the debt issue. Ask him for me, how will people in the villages buy this idea and vote for him? We are sitting on a time bomb. Basically, he's asking, how do you connect with the Ushago?
Yeah, it's very simply this. We are saying, because we will not pay that debt, we are now, I think, 4 years into educating people about odious debt, this debt that we are saying is illegal. So we are not going to belabor the point. We are saying that the take home of our government is that person in Ushago will never pay a medical bill. That person in Ushago will never pay for education for their child, both primary and high school.
Secondary, yeah.
Okay? We are saying that they are going to have a lower cost of living because they will not be paying 16% VAT. they'll be paying a 5% sales tax on non-staple products and services. All right? Now, just that alone, the economy in their own homes will change. All right? It will change. In other words, government is going to free up that cost to the person in the village and every single Kenyan. All right? Now, that is what we are proposing. If you want to say that we are talking nonsense and you think you want to continue paying 16% VAT, vote for the others.
By all means.
By all means. If you want to keep paying Shah and Chief,
Yes.
the proponents of Shah and Chief are known. Vote for them. If you want to keep paying education, looking for bursaries, and I don't know what, for primary school and high school, the others are there. We are saying those costs are gone from you. Gone. The last 3 years or 4, we've been educating about our problem.
Right.
Now we are saying these are our solutions. All right?
Right.
And there's one other question that you had raised earlier. Why should they believe that Jimi, Wanjigi and Safina are going to implement this? You see, this is unlike the promises of William Ruto or even the 6,000 of Raila, where government is giving you. When CT brought up a good example of Kibaki with free primary education, we had a December election 2002. All right? In fact, it was December 27th. Kids were back second week, third week of January 2003. And those 2 weeks were full of debate about the practicality of free primary education. The teachers union, NAT, was complaining we don't have enough teachers. People were talking about not enough classrooms. This thing can't be implemented. Right? And the government came out with one statement. Every kid in primary school eligible, you go to school. There's nothing you're waiting for. If you have a local school near you, just take your child. They will not be charged. And schools were forced to even teach people under trees. Schools were put into scenarios where teacher was I think 1 to 60 or 70 kids.
Yes.
And Kibaki's mentality was, we made this promise, we've dived in the deep end. And people even who had not heard what the government is saying just took their kids. They said, ala, si serikali ilisema ya Kibaki, it's free. So here we are saying, you will not pay Shah and Chief. Who is paying? Is it government or you? It's you that's deducted. Correct? So you will not be deducted. It's you. It's you that is paying primary and secondary. You will not pay. It's not the government giving you. You will not. It's you that will say, but government said we are going to pay 5% VAT on these products. Why are you charging 16%? If within an implementation period that is acceptable, which does not go beyond 30 days,
yes,
that is not in place, you can imagine the wrath people will have on a government. They have to be in place. You dive in the deep end. And there's no way we cannot be able to do it. We are suspending debt payments. So you have immediate relief anyway.
You know, what runs interference with that particular narrative is something very simple. It's called the believability factor that has been influenced by what we envision a government to be and what we envision or what we have accepted is our lot in life with regards to how we live as Kenyans. So any change that seems to be seismic, any change that seems to be utterly revolutionary doesn't sit well because it sounds too good to be true. It's fantabulous. It's
Correct.
It's like we're used to this suffering, so if it changes a little bit, we're okay. You're saying it's going to go away. You're saying, it's not possible.
How?
And actually,
it's not possible for it to go away.
He is right. Unfortunately, we've also been conditioned to lies in this way. For instance, successive governments have always told us things will change. For example, this government, I remember very well because I watched this on TV. We're told tutaanza kununua gas 300. Whose responsibility was it? The point is the government.
No,
actually-
no.
yes.
Whose responsibility was it to buy gas at 300? To reduce the price to 300?
I don't know. The government told us. The president said that it was going to happen.
Yes,
The
but
president-
how was it going to happen?
Yeah, we were not told.
Right. Right. Here, we are doing something different.
So you're
We
telling
are
us
saying,
now.
take your kid to school, right? They will not be charged. We are saying they will not be charged. So when you go there, you will say, but the government said you will not charge. It's not the government to give you. It will be there. Let the teacher say, well, we can't afford it, we are closing shop. Then it becomes a responsibility of government. But you are taking your child. You are going to a hospital and you're saying, we were told we were going to have universal health care. I'm not going to be charged for medicine. Why are you charging me? There'll be helter-skelter chaos here. So, of course, it has to be implemented. Gas, he didn't tell you how he's going to reduce the price. Did he reduce taxation? What did he do that's going to bring it to that? That's a private entity thing. Does the government manufacture gas?
No.
So what control does it have? What control?
So the point I was trying to drive home is what City is saying. When we're given those big, huge, humongous promises, Kenyans are always like, hey,
No, but this is not a promise. This is a promise of action you can take. It's not the government taking the action. That's why I'm trying to distinguish.
You're saying this is
that here,
unrealistic.
here, it's not only realistic. It's in your hands, not the government's hands. Not my hands.
Jimmy, therein lies the problem.
Not my hands. In other words, like
therein lies the
Kibaki.
problem.
That's why I brought the issue of Kibaki. That here you are told free primary. You took your kid. You said the government promised us in the campaign free primary. And the government had to ensure that it happened. People started taking their kids. Whether you're going under a tree, whether you are 60 kids to one teacher, it's you. You took your kid who was never going to school. You took your kid and you said, I'm not taking out money from my pocket. We were told it's not going to happen. You understand? Unlike William Ruto stands up and says, I'm going to give Mama Mboga 100 billion shillings. He's getting it from where? Or I'm going to give you 6,000 shillings in your home because you don't work. You're getting it from where? Is government giving you? Here you're not being given. Here it is you to take action.
Okay.
You know,
Do you understand the difference? It's you to take action.
Actually, you've gotten the heart of the matter.
Yes.
And the reality is, we will not take action.
No, you will.
Allow me to explain. We will not take action, not because we are not able to, but because we don't believe we should. The mindset of Kenyans, every time we speak, we tell you how we think. And we think that the government should do things. That's the conditioning. Havana. When you ask the question, when I ask the question of people who come to have conversation with us here, and they are politicians, and I ask, or citizens, and people who are in civil society, and ask, how do you hold your leaders to account? It is a question people struggle to answer. Because the idea of the role that you should play is something that we seem reluctant to take.
You know, CT, let me tell you, I don't know why we are so good at underestimating each other.
No, we're not understanding.
Let me qualify that. Let me qualify it. Last year, I talked extensively about a revolution. I remember I was even with you.
Yes.
February, March, I talked about a revolution coming. Not only you, but some of your colleagues and even others outside told me there'll be no such thing. Which Kenyans are going to take this initiative? We are complacent. We accept things. Who's going to do it? It has to be led by somebody. It has to happen in Nairobi. Others even came to me telling me, Jimmy, what you're saying is anti what people want. I said, but it's going to happen. This economic pain you people are underestimating, it is going to happen. Kenya's got up, right? In numbers we have never seen for weeks against status quo. We've never seen it. Even multi-partyism never brought that kind of, those numbers. Spurred by the knowledge of economic pain, saying they are not going to take any more pain. So don't underestimate Kenyans.
This isn't.
I assure you, we are graduating. We know lies of politicians. You've told us this. Hold you to account. Here is action. Here you're saying, I'll go to hospital and it will be free. Now what is this government is charging me? There'll be chaos, helter-skelter chaos here. What is this that you're telling me now my kid is out of school because of fees? Which government will stand? Okay?
Jimi,
so we are proposing actions, okay? Right? That the citizens themselves are going to walk into. And they walk into it. You will take your child tomorrow to school and you will not accept a bill. And if it comes, it will become a source of disdain, a source of mischief that a government has done. Within no time, everyone will say, Jimmy told us a lie.
My brain understands that logic, Jimmy. That's not what I'm referring to. No.
You're saying Kenyans?
I am talking about a cognitive dissonance that we have with regards to change as a citizenry. I am not saying that change is impossible. No, in fact, if anything, I'm very gung-ho about it myself.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying that I disagree with you as to the level we've reached.
No, we actually are not disagreeing. Let me explain what I am saying so that you understand me. I am saying this. We as a citizenry are loath to hold specific, not just individuals, specific people whom we have elected to account on a regular basis. We are loath. It's not that there is no attempt. We are loath. Why am I saying we are loath? If indeed the thinking was that there are things we will not put up with, one of the things that I would see happening is people who would refuse to be given money to attend meetings. They would refuse. They'll say, but the money is necessary because we don't have the money, we don't have the pain. The process of change that we are speaking of, unfortunately, comes with pain. Even that process. You know why? The pain is actually called sacrifice. So it may even seem counterintuitive because you are doing something that prevents that immediacy of need that you have. And we're saying this immediacy is a trap and it's going to imprison you. This is not what you need. What you need is something that will be there irrespective of whoever is there. And I'm saying to tell someone to the face or to have actions that indicate that, this way of doing things is not giving us what we need, and to hold them to account and to have a mechanism that holds them to account, I'm saying we are loath. People getting together to express their anger, that will happen. But if I were to ask somebody in this, of the people who are listening, you have an MCA, we all live in Nairobi, we all have MCAs. How many of us are willing to form a caucus that holds that MCA to account on issues that are discussed over there?
City, I think I am not quite getting you, because to me this is very simple.
How is
It's
it
very
simple?
simple.
Explain to me how simple it is.
So I take my child to school, and we've been told we are not going to pay school fees, and then you give me a bill and I say it's okay. I don't understand what you're saying.
If you don't understand, you don't want to understand.
No, I'm not understanding.
I'm
trying to put it very simply this way.
Yes.
That this is no longer about what a government says, promises is going to do.
No, I'm talking.
These are actions that a government is going to.
But Jimmy, I've moved the conversation.
The people.
I've moved the conversation to
to
the citizenry.
Yes, that's the point. That's the point. That these are actions that the citizenry will take. You've been told.
What's the guarantee that they will?
No, hold on.
Let me ask the question.
And that's why I went back to Kibaki. People took their kids to school and said, government said it will not be charged. And those who were already in school did not pay school fees. And those who could not go to school because of no school fees just brushed up their kids and took them to the nearest school. This is an action that the Mwananchi takes onto themselves. It's not waiting for a government.
All right.
And even with all the debate, because there was huge debate, even as people were doing it, government had not stated itself. All right? It does not come out, people saying, oh, it needs regulations, it needs this, it needs that. Okay? There was one blanket call after people started taking their kids everywhere to schools that the government is committed to free primary education. No school is going to charge. You accept every kid that comes. We don't even care what Nat is saying. We don't care. These kids had already gone. It's an action the citizen takes on their own.
I remember.
So
actually,
here you have a situation where you're saying, I'm going to hospital. The government said I won't be charged for medicine. All right? So why are you charging me? That is hell in that hospital. Do you understand? These are actions the people will walk to. Okay? Not, yes, they'll walk to.
I remember.
So the government has no choice.
But to make it
But
happen.
to make it happen. Because it's not the government giving. It's not the government giving to be held account. It is there for you to take action about. So
Jimi,
I'm taking my kid to secondary school. He has qualified or she has qualified. I'm not going to pay.
I remember, Jimi.
It's an action from your pocket. You send me school fees. I said, no, I was told no. See, they qualified. I'm not paying.
All right. So, Jimi, I remember even...
It's your action. It's not the government to pay for you.
The government actually said at one point, they told chiefs to make sure that the children in their areas go to school. But now the question, and I will ask this in this way, so what happens if I take my child to school after the declarations that you will make, and then the school sends me back and they're like, bro, there is no space here, go back home. Either tumejazana or hakuna enough equipment, hakuna classes, and I'm actually told
I'll tell you, the government will tell you, deal with that headmaster of that school. Yes, who are they?
Me as a citizen.
Who are they? Yes, get rid of them. And we'll get rid of them if it's a government school. Because then you'll come back to us, right? And we'll be viewed as the people who are not credible. But that never happened during Kibaki's time. It was accept, even if you don't have teachers, make it work.
Find a way.
Find a way. And even when donors, DFID and all, were saying, aye, this is too rushed, then became, the principal way. They became the biggest funders of grants towards even building of classrooms and training of teachers. So this is action Mwananchi themselves will take, not promises from a government.
We have a question here from Steve Maika. Steve anauliza, hi Jimmy, on the Odious debt, are some of them local bonds etc? Assuming they are, most of the pension funds have invested about 80% in government bonds. What happens to these pensions for Kenyans?
Correct. I had said earlier when CT asked me the same question that we have a very clear plan on that. We've taken examples that have been done elsewhere. I don't want to say it too early, but it is something that we are going to lay out. What we want people to accept first and foremost is that is odious.
Yes.
And I advise every single pensioner, I advise every single depositor in a bank that they better stop. I said this over a year ago. Stop investing in government bonds. Stop it. It is criminality. And you may pay heavily for it. Stop it. Stop it. Because the day of reckoning is coming. Yes.
All right. Kuna ingine hapa, and it's about not really a question, but it's more of I'm seeking your comment on this. Kenya to save 27.7 billion yearly on SGR loans after yuan switch. What are your comments on this one? We are actually saving quite a significant amount of money.
The good thing, what they are trying to do is get a lower debt servicing cost by changing from dollars to RMB, the Chinese currency. And it's an interesting debt restructuring. There is a saving, no doubt. But I am very clear about this debt of SGR. That's one of the ones I say we actually have no debt. We paid for that rail ourselves. We've audited this very well. We paid for it and more. And I'll repeat, the SGR is the following. The total cost of SGR, as per the contracts of SGR, from Mombasa to Naivasha, the civil works, in other words, the rail, and the rolling stock was a total of 500 billion Kenya shillings. The Chinese government gave us a loan of 90% of that 500 billion through China Exim Bank. That is 450 billion shilling loan, right? That is what you're seeing there, so-called being restructured. And we as Kenyans were to contribute 10%, which was 50 billion shillings, towards the construction.
Yeah.
So we audited the numbers, and the numbers read like this. Did we get the 450 from China? Yes, it is under what are called drawdown certificates from Treasury to Exim Bank. We calculated roughly the same amount. These are public records. Then we asked, did we pay the 50 billion, right, from the Treasury for this construction? It is there. It is called Self-Raising Finance Grant Treasury to Kenya Railways for the construction of SGR. So Kenya Railways would present a certificate from China Road and Bridge, which was constructing the rail, to Treasury, and Treasury would pay the 10%, and then they would draw down the 90% from China Exim Bank after they've paid the 10%. So we just did the simple numbers on the 10% also. Did we pay 50 billion? Under that item, Self-Raising Finance Grant, Treasury to Kenya Railways. The total amount, my good friend, that we paid was not 50 billion.
How much was it?
It wasn't 100 billion.
How much?
It was 644 billion as a contribution of 10%. So if the rail cost 500,
we've already paid it.
We paid it and change. So China Road and Bridge received a loan payment from Exim Bank of 450 and from us 644. That takes you to about 1.1 trillion shillings for a project that is 500 billion on record vis-a-vis their contracts. The same China Road and Bridge comes and tells us they have now invested in an expressway of 100 billion. Private money. They say it's their money. I say it's our money that they were washing back. So I don't believe we have a loan with SGR. So whatever, this is just smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
Let me ask a different question, Jimmy. I am going to circle back to what I was saying. I'm just giving it a rest now. Oh yeah, we still have time. The what does Safina stand for? What sort of party are you?
Yes, I'm glad you've said that. We are a party that is committed to what we call the economic liberation of Kenya. The liberation that we have never had since 1920. In other words, we want to eradicate in totality poverty. Our poverty rate today is roughly, if you take the ratios, is about 60%. Okay? Let's talk about it in totality. 60%. You have almost 40 million people. 22 of those that are looking for food every day. The rest cannot make ends meet in this country, 63 years after independence. And we are saying that that is a promise and a future stolen from us. Stolen from us. And the greatest thing about the phase that we are at as a nation is that we are doing so when we have our political justice. We have a great constitution that guarantees our rights. So we can scream now about resources. And please remember our foundation. That company called Imperial British East Africa came here because they wanted to exploit us economically. Our resources and our people economically. And we have never had that freedom. Yet we work hard, we produce, we go to school, we do everything, but we do not have that. So Safina's principle guiding rule is that it is glorious to be rich. And it is glorious that we want to see every Kenyan as rich. And that it's an achievable target in our lifetime. In fact, now, not tomorrow. Okay? And that when we are rich, you have the greatest freedom, because then you have the freedom of choice. You kneel before nobody. And as we achieve that glorious economic justice, we are praying that we don't lose who we are. We help brand who we are. We go through what you call our cultural ethos, because we have been too defined by others. What is a Kenyan? What is a Kenyan product as a human being? Where are we going? What are we about? Okay? Because that becomes in itself an entity towards our greatness. Because Safina's role is to achieve our greatness. And in that greatness, we want to embed an ideology. And we are hoping and praying that even our competitors develop a template that we can start talking about ideology, economic philosophy, our culture, who are we, right? Because it must be a goal of a country to achieve its greatness. Historically, many countries have gone, the great nations that are talked about, such as China, Singapore, because those are references to us because of our economy just 40 years ago and so on in relation to them. The leaderships of those times said, we are not interested in political rights, but we guarantee the citizenry economic rights and economic prosperity and richness. And they did. Today, China is still a one-party state, but their per capita income is unmatched. Singapore, the highest per capita income in the world, still got a bit of a dictatorship. People have not got their political rights, but they got their economic rights. Kenya, we have a foundation for our political rights, which we are safeguarding. Now it's our economic prosperity. And once it's achieved, we will achieve our greatness, because our greatness must be viewed beyond our borders. It spreads beyond us. That is a Kenyan product in a human being, in a person, selling a particular philosophy. Great Britain is called Great Britain today because most of the world speaks English. They were the greatest empire, but they left us with their language. They even left us with their religion. We practice common law in how many countries because of them? Financial systems because of them. They extended themselves even beyond being an empire. We as Kenyans have got to start thinking the same way. So for example, even China, why is it here? It comes here with workmanship and it comes here with soft money, which we take. And all of a sudden, they even have built a Chinatown here. So what is that in relation to Kenya? Why are we not doing the same? Why are we not seeing our greatness beyond ourselves? We must expand our greatness. And the next 30 years, in other words, the next generation of our lives must be about our greatness, not about our problems. I think we are tired of dealing with problems. We've got to overcome these problems and start talking about our greatness, expanding our wherewithal with the world. The world is 8 billion plus people. Sub-Saharan Africa is 1 billion people. Why are we not influencing them? Why are we not there? Why are we not present? And one of the things we intend to do with some of this money we are saving from debt is extend our own Kenyan Exim Bank, for example. Right? Which can extend a few $1 billion towards construction, infrastructure construction of even our neighbors. Because we have got the capacity. And we will use our own Kenyan companies to go and do that work, the same way others do the same. It is tied to Kenyan concerns. We can extend our teachers, right, on grants to some of these nations, so that we are in sync with what is the philosophy of a greater market of East Africans, for example, right? So that our numbers start dictating more and more our greatness in the world. Okay?
Jimmy, how would a Safina government deal with corruption and opulence?
What we intend to do is create what you call small government. Small government, the tenets of it were built mainly by an economist called Milton Friedman, who said, what is the role of government? And we are great believers of this. He had 4 tenets, but we had 5. The simple role of government. I want to use Milton Friedman because, government was formed by the Greek philosophers of yesteryears, Socrates and Plato and all this. But I want to deal with Milton Friedman, who said government, in principle, should be what the private sector cannot do. So, number 1, the private sector cannot defend us against outside aggressors. No matter how you think about it, it can create some tools towards it. The private sector can make drones or can do this or do that. But in terms of marshalling and manpower in a direction to protect our borders against any aggression on the citizenry, the government is good at.
Okay.
Number 2, a government must be there so that we don't also deal with each other, against each other. So a police force that helps us live in a civil manner according to the laws that are there. In this country, we have a further problem with that police force. They also break laws, and they are used by political establishments to deal with what is called dissidents, or who are just expressing themselves as per the Constitution of Kenya. So we also have to deal with that police force. Remember, I said it was created by the Mzungu as a domineering arm, not as a service arm.
Okay.
And we
Actually,
intend
as a subjugating
as
arm.
a subjugating arm. That's even better words, as a subjugating arm. And we are going to propose, and are proposing today, and we intend to legislate immediately on coming to power. According to the article, Bill of Rights, every entity of government is subjected to the people, the sovereign. So we are going to propose an amendment to the Police Act to change the title of an OCPD, all right, to a sheriff, because divisions, and we've taken the example from the US, a division in America is manned by a sheriff. So we want to take an OCPD and turn that person into a sheriff. There are 597 divisions of the police force. So 597 OCPDs. Sheriffs. A sheriff in America is elected by the people of that division. We want to propose an amendment that every year after a general election, there shall be election of the 597
Sheriffs.
In each division, and you can only vote if you're in that division, conducted by IEBC. And that sheriff can be either a civilian or a police officer.
Okay.
All right? Now, we can set the standards, right? Now, an OCPD then is accountable to an IG as well as directly to the people. I can assure you that OCPD is not going to order his men to shoot the very people who elected him, no matter what an order from an IG or anybody else. So we want to bring greater accountability to the police. That's the second role of government. The third is that a government must create a level playing field as much as possible. The rules of engagement, the rules of private property.
Right.
You know, those are not done by the private sector. They are done by governments. What is a title deed? What is private property? You know, today in Switzerland, many apartment blocks, if you flush your toilet after 10 o'clock, it is viewed as infringing on my noise.
Actually,
noise pollution.
I saw that somewhere and I was like, this is crazy.
No, it's not crazy. There are certain things that they value.
Yes.
So a government needs to create those sort of rules. This is why the legislature is there. And we intend to make it really work for the people. That's number 3. Number 4, there must be an adjudication for disputes. How do you handle disputes? That's why the judiciary must really be vamped up to be really at the village level of disputes, even if it means getting up chief courts or whatever it is, where disputes are handled. So these are the basic rules of government. We add 5, which is principally that the government must be there for humanitarian reasons. If we have a crisis, if we have an issue that needs to be dealt with as a nation that was not foreseen, the government must be there. Outside of that, what business does government have even running schools that can be done by the private sector? Why is it running schools?
Why is it not run? Why shouldn't county governments run schools then?
Why should the county governments run them? Why can't private sector do it?
I'm asking why not.
No, but why should they?
I have a problem with private sector being involved to that level of degree. Because
Well, that is one thing I would like to debate. Because there is no record in this world where governments have been more efficient than the private sector. None.
If only efficiency that is measured by the actions of private sector, the standards we're using, you have a valid point.
Now, let's talk about standards, right? This is where government comes in. What are regulations? What are the ways we operate? What are the standards? Government can even be the one that invigilates, in other words, prepares what are called fair exams, or agrees the template for that creation. But it has no business running schools.
Actually, it does have business running schools, and I'm going to say why.
That one we'll debate. I'm just telling you the rules.
Yes.
The rules.
Yes.
Because we can go to that, we can go to hospitals, we can go to very many things. All right? We can go to very many things.
The reason why you hear me, the moment you mention private sector and the role that they play, the reason why you see me immediately reacting is because I had not fully envisioned the full extent to which private sector can go rogue until I am now witnessing frontier capitalism and what it's doing in America, where private sector becomes the puppeteer. That is my fear.
But look at what they've done in America. That when these companies get too large, legislature comes in. Antitrust laws have stemmed the growth of Apple and that domination of puppeteering that you're talking about. That's why the legislature is so important. Elon Musk with Trump only went so far, okay? Because the rules don't allow the private sector in the room with government. They don't. Because the government is a different entity. It does not just serve business interests. That is a component. Government is bigger than just business interests. And this is where we as Kenyans are wrong. We believe even, I had somebody ask me one time, but you're a successful businessman, why do you want to go to politics? I said, you mean politics is to go and make money? I said, isn't it? And this is where we are very wrong. Business must not be an entity of government. That's why Elon Musk could not last. Because business serves a different interest. It is self-interest. It is profit. Jimi, and that does not mean that's for majority. Jimi. But what business does, private business does, is that it creates certain efficiencies because of free market. You're forced to compete and bring out the best product at the best prices. Okay? That is reality. So government sets standards. It sets rules of engagement.
Yes, Jimmy. The marriage between government and private business, let me be clearer. That is my problem. That is my problem. Because the moment that marriage, and it isn't, what you say is ideal, and that is what one hopes would happen. I hope that would happen. But human nature, unfortunately, doesn't work that way as we would like. If you set that thing in motion and you went with it for 10 years, what's the guarantee that the person who comes after you is going to believe that? What's the guarantee?
City. you know, we have tried something for the last 63 years.
Yes.
If you're so happy with it, subscribe to it. Government running things. You're so happy? Good luck.
No.
I am saying, no, let me finish. I am saying government needs to get out. In fact, they're the most inefficient entity.
So you want
okay? No, hold on. Let me finish. I have given you the 5 entities that should be involved in.
Yes.
I am saying there are different debates about this. I've told you about America. In China, Deng did this. He said, politics is here, but I'm going to quasi-government. Have a holding government, but create a private sector.
It is not a multi-party system?
No, hold on. I'm saying politically, different to us.
Yes.
Yes. They chose a different method.
Yes.
Right. They chose economic method where they created a private sector. A huge private sector.
That is the government creating a private sector.
Yes, and then they let go. There are many private entities. They started from very basic things, creating EPZs just to take business from Hong Kong.
Yes.
All right? And private base, those were private EPZs. They were not government entities. That's how Deng began. They were not private entities. I mean, they were not government entities.
They were private entities.
They were private entities. And people couldn't believe, you mean I have a license to operate privately? I don't have to talk to my regional boss. I'm not working for the government. And they couldn't believe the emancipation. So I am saying this. We've tried and tested something for 63 years. We are at a 60% poverty rate. It hasn't worked. Okay, you want to try something new?
No.
You want to continue the same thing? I am saying we do something different, and let us test it. Let us stress test it. Let us go through all the learning curves that we need. America went through it from Reagan. That was the first time of supply side contracting, supply side economics. That's when you had the growth of Hollywood, the growth of IT, the growth of AI you're seeing today. Okay? It boomed them beyond their imagination. Now, when you become that, then you start talking about managing it. And I'm saying then, that is now for debate. Right?
Which is precisely what we are doing.
No, hold on.
Debating.
Now, what we do in that debate, okay, is that you create a template. You want a political party? Go and say, there's too much private entity. Wanakula sisi. As we want to bring up another modicum of ideology. Okay? Yes. Even those that you're calling on these shows, ask them what their ideology and philosophy is.
Jimmy, how long do you reckon?
So that now we can debate what is best for this country. But do not tell me that what we've been doing for 63 years is working. Because it isn't.
Jimmy, how long do you reckon what you're proposing, the feast, everything that you've just proposed in there, how long do you reckon it will take for everything to smooth sail once you...
18 months.
18 months?
Yes. That's a maximum.
You won't ask for more time midway?
No. 18 months.
And say, guys, we are rushing this thing.
18 months. No. I want you to imagine when you say you're suspending debt payments, it will cause ruffles in the market. It will cause serious ruffles. Then you come back with a template of why you're suspending, why you're not going to pay, to cause ruffles. Right?
Actually, it will cause upheavals, not even ruffles.
No, I say ruffles.
Upheavals.
No. I don't believe upheavals.
Why?
Those are cartels who will be creating upheavals. Why would it cause upheavals? And we will not be blackmailed. We will not be blackmailed.
Let me tell you,
we will not be blackmailed.
But Jimmy, why do you think an upheaval is a bad thing?
No, it will not.
And the upheaval is an overhaul.
No, it will not cause upheaval.
So you will not be overhauling.
What will happen? Of course, it will be an overhaul.
But that's what an upheaval is.
No, not necessarily. You can overhaul without an upheaval. In other words, people like to use the word upheaval and all those things to show that like there'll be a crisis, like a revolution. I'm sorry, it's not going to be like that. That is just people trying to make sure you don't do what you're saying you're going to do. We will not accept words like upheaval. That is fear-mongering. This will be a seismic change.
But Jimmy,
okay?
A seismic change
is not upheaval. A seismic change to the way we have operated. It's not an upheaval. It's progress.
Upheaval is the consequence of the action, but what he's proposing is that after that has been effected, right? The change to the Mwananchi
will
is
be
the
phenomenal.
That's okay.
It will be seismic. In other words, upheaval has a negative connotation. This, right? Even it's like revolution. People think revolution is negative. Okay? Whereas it's positive. We're getting into semantics here. But revolution is positive. It's a growth point. It is not necessarily going back. Here, we are talking about a seismic change to the way we have known Kenya, the way we have lived. And it's a seismic positive change. Extremely positive. That is what we are proposing. And we intend to do. Not only proposing, intend to do. And we are going to sell this to the people of Kenya. It's not business as usual. It can't be. It's not working.
There's a question here, sir, and it's from John Mokera. Please ask Jimi and Safina Party how he will deal with issues of receiving industries and factories to address employment changes.
I don't understand the question.
I also don't understand what he means by receiving.
Just explained it.
But he's asking basically matters to do with employment.
But what did I just say about domestic debt? If the government is not borrowing,
yes,
that money is available to Kenyans
in their pockets.
In their pockets.
Okay.
In fact, not only employment, most Kenyans here will be doing self-employment, if you want to call it that. Entrepreneurship, which we are very good at, will grow beyond, because you capitalize. People get capital. One of the biggest constraints, if not the biggest, is that people don't have access to capital.
Yep.
To further their ideas, to further growth in whatever sphere. So, we are saying you will avail the capital in the private market, not a government. The government won't take it anymore. You go and borrow from the banks, and we know the interest will be below 5%.
Yeah.
So they'll be affordable. In fact, we believe by our calculations about 3%, which are manageable. Mama Mboga can borrow 1 million shillings and pay 30,000 shillings interest a year. She'll get that return and more.
We have about 5 minutes to the end of the show. IBC, do you believe we're going to have a free and fair election with the current setup?
Yes. There may be attempts at voter suppression, whether it's in the registration process or in the methodology. But we have reformed so greatly. The greatest were the reforms that were embedded in the minor care case, which my deputy, I was actually the lawyer for. And I want to tell you, anyone imagining they can rig elections, it was attempted in 2017 and they were exposed in the Supreme Court. Those things, please, wachana nayo. Kenyans, get out, go and register. 8 million Kenyans didn't vote last time. They were the largest voter. Even if you take the last registry, I can assure you, this regime is gone and change is here. But what we want is more participants. In the last election, 4 million Kenyans that were eligible did not take their kuras. We hope they take them. We hope others take them now. The youth especially.
8 million young people didn't vote.
There were a mixture.
8 million people
didn't vote. It was a mixture.
The majority were young, but 8 million people.
Yes. And they were the largest voter.
Okay.
4 million were eligible to take kuras and they didn't. Right? They were over 18, they didn't take. I'm sure that number is larger now. We are hoping on a registry. I hope it gets to 30 million. It would be very good if we can get to 30 million. We're now at 22. We hope we can get to 30 million. That would be a fantastic election. Okay?
Yes.
And I believe this time, young people especially are going to participate. There's no way you are sacrificed, your blood goes into this soil, and then you don't participate in election. They will participate. Anybody imagine young people not are fooling themselves. They have realized this, their lives. Before they didn't really care. Now they've realized it's actually their lives and their stolen futures that they're not participating in. So they will participate. We hope we get a large voter turnout, and I believe we will. I am praying that the IABC wakes up to the challenge of a large voter turnout. And I don't think we are going to accept their monkey business. Because we don't want to hear elections going on for days.
Counting.
We are seeing countries like America have elections in one night. Okay? And 200 million people have voted. So in reality, India, you get 500 million people Yeah, and 2 days, 3 days, you have results. Here, let us don't play around with us. Okay, in this age of technology, don't try and